You are watching KATV. Join us and share the spirit of Arkansas. This is Channel 7 News, live at 5, with Andy Pearson, Lori Johnson, Ned Burmey with weather, Paul Eels on sports.
The Arkansas Razorbacks advance in the SEC tournament by beating the Georgia Bulldogs. Good afternoon. I'm Andy Pearson. Lori has this Friday off. We'll be bringing you the top news stories in just a minute, but first, let's go live to Birmingham via News Star 7 and check in with Paul Eels. And Paul, they won one back from Georgia.
It was a big afternoon for the Razorbacks, and Andy, the 73-60 score, I don't think indicates the toughness of this basketball game today, but it did even the score because Georgia is one of 3 ball clubs that beat the Hogs during the regular season. Over 6,000 Razorback fans turned this place into Barnhill Southeast this afternoon, and the Hogs needed all the support they could get. Arkansas was today because it was an all-day job at the office. The Hogs walking off the court and going to the interview room where Nolan Richardson at this particular hour is still talking to the media about his ball club, and at 5:20 tonight we'll hear from Nolan about the toughness of this game. The victory assures Arkansas of moving into the semifinals tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock against the winner of the Florida and Alabama ball game, which takes place tonight, and all of the games, the other 2 quarterfinal games, can be seen on Channel 7. So we'll be back to talk more about the Razorback victory this afternoon. The Hogs winning 73-60 over Georgia and stay alive in postseason play here in Birmingham. Andy?
So, Paul, do you think the Hogs will be rested up enough after today's grueling game? Will they be rested up enough tomorrow?
I believe so, Andy. The 2 p.m. starting time and not having to play a game on Thursday should leave the Hogs in pretty good shape. And while Big O had to play probably 35 minutes today, Lee Mayberry played all 40. They'll get some rest, and the 2 p.m. starting time tomorrow should get their legs back, and I think they'll be in good shape.
All right, Paul, check with you in just a few minutes. Well, the fallout over the bad check scandal with Congress continues, but we did get some official response from the Arkansas House delegates today. Congressman Burl Anthony says he's having an accountant look at his records and will release a statement next week. Congressman Ray Thornton says he doesn't think he's even on the list. And Congressman Bill Alexander is starting his own audit of his records first thing Monday morning, he says, to see where he stands. He says a statement will follow that. John Paul Hammerschmidt has repeatedly said no comment. We do have a report now from Nancy Ambrose in the nation's capital.
Speaker Tom Foley tried to put the best face on the events of the past 24 hours. He praised the House vote for full disclosure and dismissed suggestions members who bounced checks would be bounced out of office.
Well, I think you'll have new faces here, but it won't be because of the bank.
But members weren't taking any chances. Many rushed back to their districts to explain to their constituents how many checks they bounced and why. Democrat Charles Hatcher headed home to Georgia to explain how he overdrew his account 780 times. Minnesotan Vin Weber made calls from his Washington office. He, too, would be back in his district but for a newborn baby. The 6-term Republican who bounced 125 checks totaling $48,000 said his re-election campaign became tough overnight because of the bank issue.
I'm prepared for the toughest political fight I've ever had. Now, how much of a political toll this issue takes, whether or not a strong campaign on my part is sufficient to overcome it, only the voters can say, but I certainly am ready for an all-out fight.
The first casualty of the bank scandal, Sergeant-at-Arms Jack Russ, resigned following harsh criticism of his management of the bank.
No, there was no sloppy accounting. I don't care what anybody says. We have state-of-the-art computers, and the way the bank has been run that way for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I don't know how long.
The question now is how many more casualties will follow. Nancy Ambrose, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Our Friday political panel joins us: Paul Greenberg with the Pine Bluff Commercial, Ernie Oakleaf with Opinion Research and Associates, and John Robert Starr with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. And they join us live now. Bob, why don't we start with you? You compared this with to the Arkansas State Airplane, the $2.8 million expenditure yesterday, or expenditure, I should say. How far-reaching do you think this will be? That senator said he didn't know.
Well, this is very well the scandal that the Democrats have mishandled so badly that it may put George Bush back into the presidential race. I don't want to call Tom Foley a fool, but he walks like a fool, he looks like a fool, and he talks like a fool. And obviously, the House members who are frantically rushing back to their districts to try to explain this do not agree with his position that they're not put in danger by this. They definitely are put in danger by this. Everyone who bounced a check, even one check, in the wave of public outrage sweeping over this thing, has got a world of trouble.
Paul Greenberg, what do you make of John Paul Hammerschmidt having no comment now for a couple of days?
Has he actually said no comment, or
Yeah.
simply has not answered his phone?
Well, according to some people, he said no comment, and others, including us, he hasn't answered the phone.
I see. Well, I would like to hear from him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't think that helps a congressman in this year, not at all.
Well, you know, the one congressman said that we just heard, this has been going on for 80 years. Why now, do you think?
Well, I guess we just finally caught on, didn't we? The characteristic of this kind of scandal is that it is understandable to anyone who ever fell behind in an account. I know that it did not take me very long at all to find out that we had bounced a check. We learned that with some dispatch, and to learn that all these checks have been bounced says again what a different plane, what a different world our congressmen live in, and that is not going to help any of them.
And Ernie, I suppose, you know, people just, they have not raised up an outrage like this since, well, some say Watergate. In fact, I heard that on the radio today. They're calling it Rubbergate.
Well, I think this is a devastating scandal for the House. It's especially bad for the Democrats. For one reason, they're in charge of the House, but a lot of the races that are going to, a lot of their seats, the filing deadline's already closed, so the Democrats aren't going to be able to put another Democrat in opposition to save the seat for the party. So it's not just the incumbents, but the incumbent party is in real trouble over this.
Well, what I find astounding is that as long as this has been going on, that neither Burl Anthony nor Bill Alexander, according to what they're telling us, have not bothered yet to find out how many checks they bounced. I found that almost incredible.
Yeah, I get the feeling that this congressional audit will find out what their record was long before theirs do.
Yes, sir.
There are so many scandals in Washington that are terribly complicated to understand and to interpret, but this one is different. We don't have to make a lot of explanations about it. People understand about checks and the way they bounce, and that's why it's so dramatic. It's not like the complicated things that are featured in presidential campaigns or congressional campaigns very often about political action committees and complex conflicts of interest.
All right, gentlemen.
By the way, the cost of bouncing a check now is $20 in most jurisdictions.
All right, gentlemen, have a good weekend. Thanks much. Well, Governor Bill Clinton's campaign chairman in Texas says Senator Lloyd Bentsen is Clinton's choice for the Democratic presidential nominee if Clinton's own bid fails. Texas Land Commissioner Gary Morrow says Clinton has told him that. Benson was the 1988 Democratic vice presidential nominee, but is not running for president this year. But that's not to say that the governor is giving up his fight. Today he was in Detroit, where he's seeking to shore up the black vote. Paul Tsongas was campaigning in Illinois. Both candidates will be back in Michigan tomorrow for a Democratic dinner tomorrow night. Well, President Bush is taking some heat on the campaign trail. Campaigning in Michigan today, the president denied he had any involvement in the decision to close down General Motors' Willow Run plant rather than the one in Texas, his adopted home state. Senator Don Regal of Michigan had suggested Bush may have influenced GM, but today Bush called the suggestion a bald-faced lie. Here in Arkansas, an off-duty reporter with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette was shot early this morning by police while they were looking for a suspect in a triple murder that happened in February. Police say 32-year-old Larry Rhodes was shot in the stomach near 27th and Chester when he made a sudden turn toward an officer. Rhodes, who is not a suspect in the murders, is listed as stable at University Hospital with a gun wound to the stomach. Meantime, officers did arrest 43-year-old James Ellison last night for his part in the deaths last month. Another suspect, 36-year-old Nathaniel Thomas, was already in custody. Both face 3 counts of capital murder each. Still ahead today on Channel 7 News Live at 5, we'll have this week's Rip-Off of the Week with Dwayne Graham, and we'll go back live to Birmingham to get more details on the Razorbacks' victory today over Georgia when Live at 5 continues.
Channel 7 News Live at 5. Brought to you by your Super Chevy Geo dealers. By Harvest Foods Economizer System. Everyday low prices on the products you buy most. And by Schuster's Home Furnishings. Locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Pine Bluff.
Looking for quality and value in a new car? Look no further than your Super Chevy dealers and take a test drive in Arkansas's #1 selling domestic car, the Chevy Cavalier. Right now, the Cavalier is priced to sell. Plus, you can get a $900 cash bonus direct from Chevrolet. With great gas mileage and a bumper-to-bumper warranty, the Cavalier may be America's best new car value. For even more room, take a look at Chevy's Lumina and get $1,000 cash back on America's favorite family sedan. Cavalier and Lumina, 2 winners from your Super Chevy dealers.
Harvest Foods doesn't think you should have to pay extra for quality. So all our private label products meet or beat national brand standards and meet or beat other stores' private label prices. Plus, we're the only store that backs our private labels with a double money-back guarantee. So next time, take home a Harvest Foods private label product and compare it with any other brand. Compare the quality, compare the price. We think you'll be happy with the results. Very happy.
It's more than a great holiday savings event. It's more than a departmental sale. It's Schuster's sensational store-wide sale tomorrow, Saturday, from 9 tomorrow morning till 9 tomorrow night. Schuster's Home Furnishings in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Pine Bluff, pulling out all the stops with store-wide sale reductions on everything. But there's more. Financing available, no down payment and no monthly payment for up to 90 days. Free delivery to anywhere in Arkansas. It's tomorrow, 9 till 9 at Schuster's.
Arby's introduces something different, something every fat-fighting, calorie-counting fast food fan is waiting for. A complete meal. That's light. Only 350 calories for just $3.50. Only Arby's offers 3 slow-roasted, lean and tender light sandwiches, all 94% fat-free, plus a crisp, healthy side salad with Weight Watchers dressing, plus a diet drink. Just 350 calories, just $3.50. Just what you're waiting for. Arby's Light Menu. Another reason there is a difference in fast food.
For the superstitious, Friday the 13th is a very unlucky day. But for Little Rock workers and their families, a campaign initiated today may bring some good luck. City leaders in the IRS want to let 40% of Little Rock's workforce know that they may be eligible for up to $2,020 through the Earned Income Credit this year. The IRS says changes in the tax law mean more people are eligible in the state, as many as 250,000 people. Mayor Sharon Priest explains how you qualify.
Credit is easy. There are 2 ways for you to do it. First, you can complete a W-5 form at your employer's payroll office and ask to get the credit in advance. Or you can file an Earned Income Credit form when you file your income tax return and get a refund of the total credit then.
Information booth is being set up in the lobby of Little Rock City Hall, or you can call the IRS for more information on the Earned Income Credit. Well, Bryant Brothers Service Station in North Little Rock sold a used car to a woman about a year ago. She says she was not told that the car had been totaled, but she found out several months later when she had trouble with it. 7 on Your Side aired the story about 2 weeks ago. Frank Bryant asked for time to respond, but we've had some trouble making connections with him. If you followed the story, you know today was to be that day. Here's Dwayne Grant.
We did meet Frank Bryant today. He and his brother Vance examined the car in question to ascertain the car's depreciation since it was sold. Mona Meeks has driven 20,000 miles in the year she's had it. As to her claim that she was never told the car had been totaled, Frank Bryant assembled a crowd of character witnesses to say it's his habit to make sure that kind of information is known.
Dwayne, I'm Frank and Wanda's pastor. I've been their pastor for about 20 years. I've known them personally. I've never known 2 more generous people. About 4 years ago, I bought a car from Frank, and the car had been wrecked. I knew it, and I knew that it had been totaled. I knew where it came from, and I still have the car. I'm still driving it, still using it, and have had no problems.
Mona, did I not tell you that the car had been hit hard in the back? As a matter of fact, did I not tell you that it was a total and had been repaired?
Mr. Bryant, what you told me is the car had been wrecked, hit in the rear. And I had specifically asked you, was it totaled? And you told me no.
You heard him say to her, this car was totaled?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what'd she say?
Well, I don't remember what she said, but she wanted the car. And she wasn't going to take no for an answer. She wanted the car.
I'm trying to build character. I'm not a rip-off. I've been put on the program as a rip-off of the week.
The story was about the car.
Sir, you put my name across TV.
Sure, because you're the one that sold it to her.
Yes, sir, and that's why that everybody thought I sold her the car a week ago and she didn't get home. And when in fact she's driven it 20,000 miles.
Well,
While Mona has driven the car 20,000 miles for a year, she says that she's been trying to get something done about it for 6 months. It still came down to finally he said, she said, and they didn't really agree. The thing they did agree upon, though, is that there's one thing needed in Arkansas, a salvage title law. Now, I know what you're asking. So what about all this argument? Did we ever reach a solution? We'll report on that tonight at 10 o'clock.
All right, Dwayne, thanks very much. Ned Permey's weekend forecast coming up next, but first, some of the day's financial news. Ed Permey here with our forecast in a dandy day.
A dandy day. It looks like a pretty dandy weekend ahead. Now, I haven't formulated that weekend weather scale, but it'll be coming up at 6 o'clock. We are going to see some cloudiness on and off over the weekend period, but for the most part, warmer temperatures, and I think everybody can appreciate and enjoy that for the next couple of days. 59 degrees is our high. That's where we're located right now, 59 degrees. The overnight low, 30. We did drop below freezing for an hour or two overnight last night, and that was at the North Little Rock Airport. Probably even in some of the outlying areas a little cooler than that. No rainfall, sunrise 6:21 tomorrow morning. And outside, as we look on toward the southeast, the Little Rock Airport off in the distance, and we can see we have plenty of sunshine across central Arkansas and most of the state at this hour. Satellite picture will show that we have had some cloudiness during the early morning hours drifting across the state. That area of cloudiness has moved on toward the east, but at the same time, here's the clouds from early this morning. Look to the north, another area of cloudiness moving on toward the south, and that is associated with yet another low pressure area and cold front. Here comes the secondary little surge of cooler air starting to move across the sections of Kansas and Missouri at this hour. There it comes, and this area of cloudiness will kind of overspread Arkansas later on tonight. And it's not going to produce any rain showers whatsoever. However, we go north of St. Louis area into southern sections of Iowa and on up into Missouri, coming down in the form of some light snow, and winter weather advisories are in effect for southern Missouri. There's the low pressure area that's going to kind of move on toward the east. And as it does trail eastward, this cold front will kind of be pushed on through Arkansas later on tonight, throughout the day tomorrow. At the present time, all we're expecting is a little bit of cloud cover to be on the increase tonight during the early morning hours. Then winds will shift to the north, and things will kind of get back to a sunny day by tomorrow afternoon, and into Sunday, partly cloudy skies and warmer temperatures still, with readings moving up into the 60s, and even some low 70s are not out of the question. Temperatures around the state at this hour: 60 at Harrison, 61 at Fayetteville, 59 at Little Rock, 65 degrees at Fort Smith, 62 at Texarkana, 63 at El Dorado, and some cooler temperatures in the northeast. And by the way, the northeastern sections of the state will probably be the only areas that will fall below 40 degrees tonight, so much warmer than it has been the past several nights. 59 at this hour, humidity 36%, barometer is rising at 30.07 inches, winds from the south at 8. Increasing clouds tonight, low temperature 40 degrees, and 40 to 45 will be common tonight, except in the northeast, where it will fall below the 40-degree mark. And winds from the southwest becoming light and variable by tomorrow afternoon, with mostly sunny skies, high temperature 66, partly cloudy Sunday and Monday. That Pacific system we've been talking about probably won't affect us now until Tuesday with a chance of rain, but clouds will be on the increase late Monday. And notice the temperatures, they'll be back up in the 60s, and it looks like a fairly decent number coming up at 6 o'clock on the weekend weather scale. We'll have more.
Yeah, a 7 to 10.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Thanks. Paul Eels live from Birmingham, coming up next.
Now, local sports highlights from Channel 7 News are just a phone call away. Call 688-8000, then press 7777 for local sports highlights from Channel 7 News.
Many people have asked me, really, why should I buy at Russell? And the biggest reason is showcased through all their awards. Russell is the only Chevrolet dealer in Arkansas to be ranked in the nation's top 50 in customer satisfaction, to be a Time Magazine National Dealer of the Year, and to earn the Chevrolet Service Supremacy Award 14 times. It's obvious what sets Russell apart: customer satisfaction. So come to Russell Chevrolet Geo in Sherwood for the car or truck you want and the service you deserve.
Well, if you're a Hog fan, you're celebrating this afternoon because the Hogs were victorious. Paul Eels is live on Birmingham, Alabama. Paul?
Andy, 73-60 the final today as the Razorbacks move into the semifinals opposite the winner tonight of the Florida and Alabama ball game. The Hogs, like this afternoon, will play tomorrow afternoon at the same time at 2:15, and the game can be seen on Channel 7. Georgia played very, very tough defensively and gave the Hogs problems all day long, along with Claxton and Green. As we take a look at some of the early highlights, we'll see in 15 seconds. Mayberry played the entire 40 minutes, and Oliver Miller today played 36 minutes and 24 seconds. So Day with 24, Miller had 13 points, and Lee Mayberry had an even dozen. After the ball game, Hugh Durham talked about the Razorback strength.
We had a good defensive job, and we did. The only thing is they did a better defensive job, particularly in the second half. I think we scored 12 points in the last 16 minutes of the game. It went from us being up 48-42 to a final score of 73, which 4 or 5, 6 of those were gifts there at the end. So defensively, we played about as good as we can do when you take a team that's got as much talent as Arkansas has, and they're averaging 91 points a game, and hold them for all practical purposes in the 60s, then you should be able to win.
Nolan Richardson very happy and proud of his ball club at the hard work in bringing their lunch to the contest, and had this reaction along with Miller and Todd Day.
We played a great basketball team in Georgia. I mean, they are a very, very gifted athletic basketball team, and I'm just very proud of our guys and very lucky and whatever else there is, and we're just happy to be here.
This just goes to show you what type of tournament we have. We're used to being, we're the first place team. We have to play a tough ball game like that the first night out. It just goes to show you what type of, teams they have in the SEC. But Georgia had a good ball club. They gave us a dogfight to the end. We're just happy, that we came out on top.
We have our work cut out. We're just going to have to go out and play hard because everybody's out to play Arkansas Razorbacks.
I'm sure that Hugh does a great job. He prepared his team for a lot of pressure defense. And we're not really the gifted pressure team we've been in the past with the 40 minutes of hell. But we do other things. We now what I call 2 minutes of hell and 38 minutes of prayer.
It was a victory by the team, but also by the Razorback fans. And as we wrap it up here, Andy, look at this. A Razorback Cadillac convertible, all decked out with the flags, and that's a good indication of the support here in Birmingham for Arkansas.
All right, Paul, we'll check
see
with
you
you.
again at 6:20.
Okay, very good. Thanks. We'll have more coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. On Wall Street today, the Dow Industrial surged more than 27 points to close the week at 3235.91. Analysts say the rise in wholesale prices helped send the market up. Gina Curry in the newsroom now with a preview of our 6 o'clock news. Gina?
Andy, in Little Rock, a 2-year-old boy got away from his mother and was hurt in a hit-and-run accident. That's our Crime Stoppers. We'll have that at 6.
All right, Gina, thanks. We'll have more Arkansas news in 30 minutes. Peter Jennings and World News Tonight coming up next.